The project continues. I'm finishing up a fiberglass repair here today. We had a bad crack in the cabin sole between the two hatches in the floor. There's one for the batteries. Here, let me show you. There's one for the batteries, and this other one here is access to the fuel tank, the old fuel tank, the original fuel tank. There's chains stored down in there now. But this is where the battery hatch is, and as you can see, I've been sanding on this already a little bit, but this area was cracked right across here, and from right here back to here, and it was tearing across and getting worse every time we walked on it. So we had to fix this before we went any further. And right now I'm just finishing that up. It ain't pretty, but after a little sanding and filling and painting, it'll look just fine. I don't have Laura's help today, and I didn't have her help the other day when I was doing this glassing work either. That's why it's so messy. With her around, things tend to get neater. But she's busy working at the veterinary clinic. We're going to get together here in about 50 minutes for lunch. And that's what we're doing today. The other thing is rerunning the wiring for the solar panels. I did most of that yesterday, and today I just marked the wires because I'm going to have to cut them and extend them to the charge controller. I ran them differently, out of the way this time, along the side, under the hull deck joint from the transom forward. Good thing we have those bulkheads out, because that would not have been easy. It might not even have been possible. No, it wouldn't have been possible with the bulkheads and the fuel tank in there. So I'll just quickly whip around here and show you what I'm talking about. I had to crawl all the way back in there, all the way back to the transom, and then take this wire and secure it up against the joint with the little nylon loops. Fortunately, I was able to just secure the loops with a nut on the deck screws. So that worked out pretty good, but would not have been possible if we had not taken this all apart. And we're getting ready to put it back together again real soon, I hope. But before we do anything else, I have to finish this fiberglass repair here. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to using my trusty oscillating multi-tool here, my Dremel. It's a really useful tool, by the way. So, with my hearing aids out and my earmuffs on, I'm ready to go.
How's it going, Chuck?
Well, it's going okay. I've worked my way from the transom forward with this wire here. This is the solar panel wire that takes the electricity from the solar panel to the batteries, and I've improved that setup by moving the wire away from where the lockers are. When I first put this in, of course, all the bulkheads were in, and I couldn't crawl back in here like this, and so the installation was necessarily not exactly as neat and clean as it could have been. So I'm taking this opportunity to reroute the wires where they'll be more out of the way and a better line to the batteries. Okay, so that's done until I'm ready to put the bulkhead in and add some. I'll have to put a connector on here and run the wire down the bulkhead to the starting battery. Oh, someone came in. There's a wake.
There's a wake.
Alright, I'm going to sit down there. I have to get out of here. How am I going to get out of here? Whoa, ouch. Ah! Sharp. Okay. Okay, I got everything? Yeah.
Whew. So what's up? What have we been up to? A little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. I'm doing what I can do while we're waiting for Andy to come down and do that main brace for the main bulkhead. I've done this wiring, and I've done a small fiberglass repair, which you're sitting on right there. I'll show that. And we got the forward bunk in with the cushions. I'm going to show what we're doing with that, okay?
Yep, we shall do.
Hold on.
So, V-berth.
The V-berth, yes. Well, so we have our mattresses in now.
Woohoo!
And what we've done about the condensation problem, we had the hypervent under the mattresses. This is hypervent. And it's designed to put an airspace under your mattress so you don't get that condensation, you get all that wetness under the mattress on the deck, on the V-berth deck, and then it soaks into your cushions. So we got that taken care of in Port Townsend when we were down there.
Yep, our very
in
first
2008. Yeah,
call out.
one of the very
across.
first things we did.
That was the
2007.
first major lesson we learned.
First major lesson about condensation in the boat. So we got the mattresses up out of the water, but there's not enough air circulating under there to get rid of all that condensation. So I did two things. One is, I'll just pull this piece out. One is I put ventilation holes in all these panels here. They're 1-inch holes to let air circulate under and through the lockers that are under there. And the other thing I did is, I don't know, can you see this?
We put in a new
See this down here?
fan, yep.
There's a fan here. That's a 4-inch
Whoa.
computer fan there. And of course we have the fan all the way up forward in this vent up here. Let's lay down, sure. All the way up here is another computer fan. And that takes, that pulls air out through that forward vent. And the intention is that it will pull air forward through the boat and out. So while we're sleeping up here, our condensation from our breath will have a place to escape. We also have the solar fan up here. It's running now. It's in a solar vent. And the third fan, come on in here. The third fan, it's a 3-inch vent here. This is a passive vent now, but I have a fan to put on here. So there'll be another exhaust fan here to exhaust all of the hot, moist air that accumulates inside the boat and causes condensation. So we hope that that will pretty much solve the problem. This circulating fan will circulate air through the lockers and under the bunk, and this fan, and this fan are exhaust fans, and there will be 2 more circulating fans aft where those bulkheads are that separate the cockpit lockers from the main cabin. So that should completely solve the problem. We almost had it licked before, just we had that problem underneath here. We were still getting the
Some of the moisture in there.
condensation under here. So I think we've got that solved. And we also had some condensation under the settee, where the cushion was sitting right down on that piece of plywood that was decked. So we've changed the design of that. It's not going to be a sheet of plywood anymore.
That's going to be a substantial change over on that side.
Yeah, we shouldn't have a problem there anymore, because it's what we're building is the frame is already built, but it's going to be a net support instead of a flat piece of plywood with no air circulating. So the air will circulate freely in that locker and all the lockers. And we're going to put a ceiling in that's going to be strips just like the one we had before, but it'll be throughout the boat so that there will be a ceiling with air spaces to allow air to circulate behind it and against the hull. So I'm really thinking that this is going to take care of all of our condensation problems that remain.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. And what else have we done today? What else I've done, actually yesterday, the fiberglass repair.
Yeah.
Let's turn around and show that. problem we were having here is that this fiberglass pan that forms the sole or the floor in the main cabin had developed a crack right here. And it just got worse and worse and worse, and as we were doing this work and walking back and forth, I realized we had to stop and fix it before we went any farther. So at first I just tried to clean it and glue it with epoxy glue, but that didn't work. So I had to take a grinder to it, grind out all this area here, and then use fiberglass cloth. I think I used 6 layers of fiberglass cloth. Put one piece underneath, and then layered small pieces in the hole, building it up gradually with bigger pieces, and finally over here. And then this here is the lid, and just to make sure that I got this, not too much material in there, taping this with cellophane tape, because the epoxy will not stick to cellophane tape, not at all. So I just put this in here, and then with cellophane tape on it, you just, boom, it just comes right out. No stick. So now I have to sand this down. After I did the cloth and everything, let that cure, and then I came in and ground off some of the big messy pieces that were sticking out, and then filled in with epoxy thickened with microballoons, soft, low-density microballoons as a fairing compound. Filled that in, let it cure, and now I have to sand it all smooth, and then we'll paint the whole floor, and it should look very nice.
We'll wait to paint the floor until after we're done with all of this, because we've still got some stuff to do, and we'll do that
painting
last.
the floor is low
Yeah.
priority, since we use carpets in here anyway. But that's a low priority thing. What still the number one priority is getting our carpenter in here
Get started on
to do
it.
the main beam,
Yeah.
and get that taken care of. That's number one right now. I'm working on. I had a new panel made. Without this big hole in it, and this rather crude backing plate. I'm going to make a new one, and that's what this is for. I'm going to redo this piece so it's nicer. And then of course I have the entire circuit breaker board and wiring panel. That all has to be redone. So, it's just part of the job. I hadn't planned on it. I had an electrician come down and look at it, and he said, "Nah, it's fine, you don't need to redo it, it's okay." But it's such a mess, and this piece here was so ugly, I decided to go ahead and redo it anyway. So that adds, I don't know, 10 hours or so to the job. An hour here, an hour there, what the heck. But we're working our way through it.
It's only time.
Yeah, time, not too much money, but a little bit. The big money has mostly all been spent on materials, but we still have labor for Andy, and that's going to be a fairly expensive process. I don't know. Speaking of, people have been urging us for a long time to go on Patreon, and we have resisted. Mostly, I think, because we didn't understand what Patreon is really all about. But I have to tell you, we opened a page a few days ago and put up a video that we were considering doing a YouTube rental on, because we need to raise a little bit of extra money to finish this project. I mean, we can finish it eventually, but it would help if we had a few extra bucks, because we have expenses.
We're at that
obviously.
point where we need a major influx of cash.
Yeah, or it's just going to take a lot longer. That's all. We're just going to have to stop and work on something else to make money in order to finish the boat. So anyway, we went to Patreon after a lot of people urged us to do so. Looked into it and saw that it's not quite what we thought it was. So we opened a page, put up a video that only patrons will be able to see. It's a 33-minute remastered video with added content from our first voyage. Our intention is to show explicitly the lessons that we learned on that voyage. Now, most of that footage is already available for free on YouTube. We uploaded it years ago. It doesn't look too great. It's in very short little segments, and we left out a lot. But it's there, and it's going to stay there. If you want something a little more in-depth and listen to us discuss the things that we're learning on this trip, on that first voyage, I would recommend that you kick in $1 or $3 or $5 and take a look. We're still going to upload free videos to YouTube, like this one. And not every video will be charged to patrons. Only 2 videos per month is our plan right now to charge to patrons. But we are going to give patrons a first look at everything that we post. So this video will go up for patrons only immediately, and then several days later we'll make it available to all of our YouTube subscribers, make it available to the public. And so that's our plan. We want to provide extra value to the people that are supporting us directly, our patrons on Patreon. But we're still going to continue to provide quality content for free on YouTube. Just going to give a little bit more to the patrons on Patreon. And that's our hope. So go check it out. Cruising Lealea on Patreon. Tell us what you think. Please leave comments and join us.
Let us know the kind of things you want to see.
Let us know what you want to see.
Open to observation.
Right. Well, we just figured that the most valuable thing would be the lessons that we learned explicitly, what we actually learned from doing that first voyage. And boy, did we learn a lot. I tell you. But now that we've got 10 years of experience under our belts, we know a lot more, and we want to share it in a setting that benefits us a little bit more directly. Patreon. And now, back to work.
Get at it, Chuck.
And I'll cut. Yeah.